It's kind of interesting because there's always pushback from certain meat companies when these investigations come out. I know that you've created some videos with some meat companies showing what the ideal should be like, how to go through the process without causing any suffering.
The way it should work.
Absolutely.
And I tell you, we did those videos very quickly. Most of those were shot in a single morning, and we didn't go cherry picking the footage because we didn't have that much footage.
Right.
And when a plant's well managed, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I think it's really
badly managed. There's some undercover videos showing some really atrocious stuff.
With the videos, they call it, I believe, the Glass Walls Project, and they say things like showing what it's really like. Now, there's something I want to bring to your attention, but I think you've already made this point. So I've got a quote from you here that I really like. So I saw a video about slaughtering of horses in Canada, and in the video you say, "I'm sick and tired of going to a plant, and I don't care what species it is. Everything is working fine when I'm there. And then as soon as I'm away, somebody gets in with a video camera and all sorts of bad stuff is going on in there. I get really, really angry about that."
Yeah, I do. And one of the things that's helped to reduce that is about 10 years ago, they started putting video cameras in the plants, audited by auditors in a mission control outside the plant on a random basis. That's helped a lot. Now people get clever about knowing exactly where the camera view is. I remember one time looking at it, somebody was prodding an animal just outside the camera's view.
Right.
That's behaving, sort of like you see a police car out on the road, then you slow down. It's, they see somebody with a clipboard's going to do an audit, then they behave themselves.
Do you think that when you...
Let me tell you what I've been seeing on the animal activist videos. I've been looking at those for years and years and years. And when they first started doing those videos, it was atrocious, like the famous Westland Hallmark video with dairy cows. That was disgusting.
Sure.
Knocking her over with a forklift. I mean, really.
Yeah, terrible.
Really, really atrocious, bad stuff. Now, the videos I'm seeing more recently, the out-and-out acts of abuse, like knocking a cow over with a forklift. There's a lot less of that kind of stuff. And, well, they just show the gestation stalls.
Yeah, the standard practices.
Shown some farms that were in big need of repairs, gigantic need of repairs. They'll find a few chickens that are injured and show you. But then they don't show you all the other good chickens that are there in the barn.
Sure, yeah, sure. It's important that we show the public the truth and not like a biased picture.
They'll go in a broiler barn and...
Temple, sorry to interrupt. This idea of when you go to a factory farm and a slaughterhouse and there's cameras there, do you feel that the companies you're working with are going to be honest, or do you think that they're going to be doing things differently because you're there?
Well, there's some of that doing things differently because I'm there, but there's some that's not. Okay, equipment maintenance problems, I can tell the fresh welds, and you gotta remember I come out of the construction industry.
Sure.
Fresh welds and things that they just did to fix it. I talked to some of the maintenance people, but right now the biggest problems I'm seeing in a slaughter plant are things I have to fix at the farm. Lame animals, for example. The truckers and the plant didn't cause that.
From my perspective, Temple, I suppose what I'm going to find compelling, that it's humane and that it's ethical, isn't going to be that we're going to film a specific day with Temple there and we're going to make sure it's all done correctly and this is the truth. What I'd find more compelling is if meat companies put video cameras in all the farms and slaughterhouses where their meat comes from and live stream it to the public. And I mean, it wouldn't be expensive to do this in 2021, and workers would be able to remain. Workers would be able to remain anonymous because we can use AI to automatically blur the faces. Like, would you be in favor of implementing something like this, like a live stream?
I've actually suggested a thing called the Plant Tour webpage, where they could just tune into different plants. Now, there was a chicken company that actually had that for a while. This was not for the slaughterhouse, but it was for farm to show their housing system. And if you looked at it at night, it was really boring when the chickens were asleep.
Sure.
But I think that's the kind of stuff we need to be doing.
Absolutely.
Just have the Plant Tour webpage, and you could go on a map of the country You click on different plants, and you then could click on a menu of different parts that you wanted to look at.
I think
And that's
that
what
would
we need to be doing. Now, in some rural areas, there will be bandwidth issues.
Sure, sure. But generally speaking, this is an idea that we think we could put forward. Do you think that meat companies would be open, would they voluntarily implement this, or would it need to be a government mandate?
Only, let me tell you something from a meat plant manager's perspective. It's very demoralizing to a meat plant manager or a farm manager who's really tried hard.
Yeah.
And then just see everything being bashed.
Mm.
That's very, very demoralizing. Now,
I suppose
I know what it's like to be on the other side of this.
Absolutely, but I think generally speaking, it's good that consumers can make an informed choice about where their food is coming from. And I think if we had this live streaming to the internet, and if the meat industry really felt unfairly represented by the undercover investigations, they could simply squash it all just by putting live streams of all the farms and slaughterhouses and showing everyone what's actually happening.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to do the slaughterhouses because there are a lot less of them. But no, I think that you need to be opening the door. When you get bashed, you need to be opening the door. But I also see, they get scared. And I have some students now that are working for some of these companies. And I talked to her just the other day, and she was getting scared about showing farm stuff, because now they'll go into a farm and, okay, they find one animal that's got something wrong with it out of, quite a lot of hundreds of animals. And now we'll hold it up and we just take pictures of that. What about all the other good animals?
Absolutely, yeah.
You see, because part of the problem is that the motivation of some of these groups is to not to reform the industry, but to get rid of it.
Sure.
You see, that's the problem. And this can be a big fight. I want to reform the industry. I do not want to get rid of it.
I understand that.
And there's things that the industry needs to fix.
So Temple, I think you and me do have a philosophical disagreement in that I think it would be better if we weren't killing these animals at all. However, there are lots of places where we really do agree. We both want to reduce animal suffering.
That's right. We both would agree on that. And I've been looking at stuff on sustainable agriculture and what they call regenerative agriculture, and our grazing animals. That would be our cattle, our sheep, our goats. They're part of the land. They help make some of the best cropland in the U.S. And they need to be integrated back in with the crops. There's a lot of things we can do with our grazing animals where you can actually do carbon sequestration. I've looked into a lot of this stuff. Grazing animals created some of the best farmland that we have in the U.S. Iowa and Illinois.
Well, just to reiterate, I'm really happy that you're behind and you're behind the idea and promoting the idea of sort of having cameras in slaughterhouses and live streaming to the public. I think this would be a really good way forward. That I
would be all for that. But one of the things I'd put in there is I'd have a banner across the bottom that says, if you edit this video, pick out all the bad parts, we sue. And we're going to come out with a clause, the legal clause.
Well, I think
don't misrepresent something where you're looking through hours of footage and they have one misstun, and then you play that over and over again. What about the other thousands of cattle they did just fine? It's not fair.
But of course,
put that video up there, but you edit this. You can stream all you want, but you edit it, we will sue you.
Well, I suppose maybe suing wouldn't even be necessary. I think that if we're live streaming everything that's happening to animals, then the evidence is there. The public can see. Oh, look.
That's the thing. You see, but then somebody they can just put their phone up to it and record it that way, and then they just pick out all the bad bits.
I understand what you're saying. I would just say that I think that if we were live streaming everything that was happening to animals, then
I think with a lot of stuff, I agree with that. And the price of the equipment's coming down, and we need to be showing what we do.